Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to the colorful world of Skittles. Skittles brings you a jolt of 5 fruity flavors in every bite, giving you the chance to taste the rainbow like never before. Break free from the ordinary day-to-day with the help of Skittles chewy candy. Skittles is a must in my candy jar. Movie snack, even my secret, so an afternoon pick-me-up. And I don't even care who knows it. Add a splash of joy to your day with Skittles. There's nothing better than fruity fun that tickles your taste buds. Taste the rainbow. This week on Pivot with Purpose.
When I was using ecstasy, when I was doing coke, when I was doing all of these things, it was to such a level of intensity that it was causing a problem in my life. And even though I was able to subside those things throughout my mothering within the past decade, honestly, it was still showing up very heavily in alcoholism. Who I am as an addict shows up in everything that I do. My drinking habit really developed through slaving through a corporate system of working and maintaining a job and doing 12-hour shifts and picking up my kid from daycare. As far as how it's impacted my mothering, I never realized how much Nyla was actually paying attention to how much I was drinking. There's people out there, if you're really someone that just loves the way that you can taste the different kinds of grapes in a glass of wine, fucking wonderful for you. Because I was trying to get smacked.
Hey friend, you're listening to Pivot with Purpose. This is my show where I pivoted from shit I'm 30, where I was dreading turning 30. I had a failed marriage, failed engagement after that, and I don't have a relationship with my immediate family. But through it all, I came out the other side with a thriving business, an unexpected radio morning show of my own, and a platform where I can reach millions of people and help them walk in their truth. I am now celebrating every step of my journey into continuously finding my purpose, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes this journey looks like shit, and it probably sounds even worse, but it's still our journey, and I'm learning right along with you to enjoy it. There's always a rainbow after the rain falls. Now, if you need advice in pivoting in any aspect of your life, relationships, career, spirituality, send your questions or story to askcarlawilmaris@gmail.com or shoot me a DM at Carla Wilmaris. Now, let's start the show. Welcome back to another episode of Pivot with Purpose. I'm your host, Carla Wilmaris, and we are in a completely different studio. We are bi-coastal today. Yes, we are. I am all the way in Los Angeles. I am at Good Media, right? That's how you say it? Good Media. It's beautiful in here, first of all. Shout out to them. I decided to do a little bi-coastal recording, and I could not come to LA and not record with Jessica. Yeah, I know Jessica Rose. It's so crazy because it's, again, someone else who I talk to all the time on social media, and it's like, you've never met her? No, I haven't. But it doesn't feel like it. Right. So this is now a thing for me the past couple of years. I think before the pandemic, 2018 when I started in this space, it's like, all right, I don't meet people in person, but when I do, it doesn't feel like it because I communicate with them so often. Right. But before we get started, I wanted to shout out an Apple Podcast review. I tell you all the time how important it is for you to leave a podcast review for the podcast, or any podcast that you listen to, for that matter, if you really, really fuck with them and you want to make sure that their show keeps growing. And this one was so sweet. So it's from King Nay. She says, "Where has she been all my life?" Baby, I've been right here waiting for you. Says, "Hello, my name is Nay, and I've been listening to this podcast for the last 9 months, and like my title says, where has Carla been my whole life? Listening to her podcast has made me realize that no matter how alone I feel in this world, Carla has been there, done that, and pivoted with purpose." I did. This is my weekly podcast that I make sure I have my wine and son put to bed so there are no interruptions. From therapy, spirituality, to real life shenanigans, and her guests. Oh man, if you aren't listening, you need to get with the program. Carla, please don't stop being real. We need it. How sweet was that?
That was very kind.
So sweet. I really try to be as transparent in myself as possible. I actually don't think I can be anything else, even if I tried, because I can't keep it up. Yeah. I'm a really bad liar. So, Nay, thank you so much. Please send me a DM if you're on social media, so I can know who you are and kind of put a face to your name. I actually started something new on social, Instagram specifically. I started doing the subscriptions. Okay. So those subscriptions came out, and I didn't know how to utilize them, but I remember having Patreon, and my Patreon community was so dope. I used to call them, we were like my circle, and we were always do pajama parties. So I was like, okay, I utilize my close friends quite often.
Right.
So I said, let's do subscriptions, and then I'll do the close friends, and we can definitely connect there. And I think you can do like lives with just close friends.
Oh, I didn't know you could do live stream.
I believe
That's
so. Cool. So I think that I'm going to connect more, and then when people become subscribers, this is if you actually, you know, if you really fuck with me or whatever, go over there. I do post quite often on my close friends, and y'all know I got lawsuits and baby daddies that be hating and family members that be hating. So I got to put some stuff behind the scenes. So go ahead and meet me over there and the subscribers on Instagram, and we can hang out a little bit more. But I brought Jessica on here because, boy, you are so unique.
Thanks.
You really are. No, but in a good way, because I get told all the time, like, you're so different. It's like, well, I am, but it's because I'm me, and I love your transparency. So I don't even remember when or where I found you on social. Like, don't remember. It's been forever. But I connected with you on a few things. We're both moms.
Facts.
We both have had baby daddy issues. We both, listen, every single one of my employees that I work with and people that I'm friends with, if we're not fucked up somehow mentally, we can't be friends. And you can't be too sane with me, because then you're going to be like, wow, something's really wrong with her. And I need you to just know that it's okay.
If we can't laugh at a funeral together, then...
Oh my God, dead ass. So I have an episode.
If we can't find something funny at a funeral, you're not my friend.
My best friend, Wendy, like, her father just passed last year. And
Mommy immediately laughed.
No. No.
Like, what's wrong?
So, no, what's wild is that her and I have really dark humor. Like, our humor is so dark. Sometimes we're like, damn, like, if people hurt us, they really think something's wrong with us. So we're even at the funeral, there are things that are funny, like she's giving a certain speech, and I'm in the back like, did she just... Why is she over here trying to speak Spanish like that? Like, it's so... It was things that were funny, and even one time I was at her house, and I don't know if we talked about it before, but we were at her house, and her mom was cooking, I was eating, and I had my back to her, and all of a sudden I hear like a... It was a weird noise, and I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I turned around, and it was one of those, like, breaking down when she was crying, and I was like, oh, shit, my bad. Yeah, and then we just, like, start laughing at it. Yeah. And it's the fact that she can laugh with me, and we can, like, during those dark times, laugh at what we got going on. Like, I tell her all the time, like, I just started meds. So I met with a psychiatrist finally again after like 10 years. And I've been diagnosed with ADHD, but I haven't done like as much research on ADHD as I need to. And a lot of my ADHD symptoms are very similar to autism. Right. So I be like, bro, like, I'm autistic. And I talk about it all the time. And then Stephanie, which is my producer, she has a son that's autistic. So as she stayed over at the house with her son more, I'm like, bro, him and I can be friends. Like, he does stuff, and I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Like, bro, I get it. If I'm too loud and you get pissed off, I get it. Because I be at the airport with like now big headphones, and I noticed a difference with that. And like, there's certain little quirks of mine that I'm like, but I'm cool with it, and they're so cool with it as well. So, anyways, that's
my nephew is autistic, so I've been paying a lot more attention to certain stuff in myself as well about like what makes me neurodivergent in certain ways, and I feel like similar with like Nyla. I think there's neurodivergency like present in a lot of us in a lot of different ways. I don't like to generally label it all as like autism unless you go and like take the whatever steps you need like with a doctor to do it, because it could be, you know, a sensitive topic. It's more of like a
for me, I don't
try not to get canceled. Like saying some shit, because you know everybody's so sensitive about stuff.
They can be sensitive. If you come in here and be sensitive, too fucking bad.
Yeah, it's like everybody. Yeah, like we have all experienced a certain amount of trauma where honestly all of us are kind of fucked up. It's just about being able to like laugh at it and look at it in a certain type of way where it's
I think it goes wrong when we look at it as something like negative. Yeah. We're all super different, and Stephanie was telling me that a lot of kids with autism or people with autism also have ADHD, so it makes sense as to why some of my things make like look there. But I am going to do an ADHD like full episode with someone that's well more versed with it than I am. I am just getting started with it. I did get to the psychiatrist and told him some things, and he went, I don't know if I explained it wrong, and he thought I was bipolar. So he put me on medicine that within 3 days I had to call up and I said, bruh, the fuck did you put me on? Like, I couldn't formulate a thought. I could barely see. It was like, I thought I was dying. And he's like, oh, but then I realized dealing with psychiatrists, they just see you. And in 5 minutes, they're like, okay, let's try this. So you start trying meds. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. I barely do ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like medicine, so I already have a hesitation behind it. So he put me on, I've done Adderall before, but I also don't like it because like you have to be on it every day. And that's why 10 years ago, my psychiatrist released me from his practice. They were like, if you don't do it every day, then you can't take it. This new guy was like, you don't have to do it every day. And he put me on extended release.
Yeah.
And I've been taking it now for about a week, and it's made a huge difference. Like, I don't feel like kick, and I actually, I can pay attention to stuff, and I'm not all over the place, but there are days that I don't want to take it. Like production days, if I'm producing someone else's pod, I won't take it. I need my brain to go a million directions because I have a team there to take care of everything. And I feel like that's my superpower. The fact that I'm thinking about a million things at once, and I can, like, you know, envision this and that and here and there. I might not be able to execute them, but that's why I do what I do. You know, I have a team that can execute it while I have these visions. And then there's times that I got to buckle down.
But then you're always, like, at some point in time working on something, because there's really people out here that don't have that many thoughts that are never doing anything, which is crazy to think about. Like,
oh my gosh,
I have 1,000 different thoughts all the time. And sometimes I feel like because I'm working on a million things at once, maybe like one thing more, you know, focused than the other, that I'm not being as productive.
Right.
But the reality is there's people that don't have any ideas or anything that they're executing or anything that they're working on. But like mental health is really, it's really some shit, because I definitely am bipolar. I've been diagnosed as being bipolar. I've tried about 4 or 5 different medicines. It's been a range of completely being disconnected from my emotions, not feeling creative at all, getting even angrier, and I'm just kind of like at the point where I've just given up a little bit.
So what's crazy
I'm not
is
on
that
meds
I
anymore.
do have a friend. Wait, I have a friend that's bipolar, and I you know, because of her, I've learned more.
Yeah.
And I do hear the fact that when you have manic episodes, it's fun.
Oh yeah, like I'm I'm not renewing my lease. I leave the country in like 50 days. Like I'm constantly like in a manic episode. Like, and I feel
constantly?
like I feel like it's hit or miss. Like I feel like there's things that I can get manic about. So like I'll wake up and I'll be like, how did I spend $5,000? Like little things like that are definitely were more so triggered, though, I will say, by like my alcohol consumption or like not taking care of myself in better ways. So my approach is I'll retract the fact that I have completely given up. I'm trying to take better care of myself as a whole so that I can more easily recognize when like my emotions or things are fluctuating and being able to pinpoint it as, oh, this is like coming from a hormonal thing, or this is coming from like a mental health thing, versus it just being, you know, a natural part. Yeah, because it's a lot. Like I've tried Seroquel, I've tried Wellbutrin, I've tried Lexapro, I've tried Prozac, and the thing about it is having
for 3 days and I almost died.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like having mental illnesses and then being on medication and the medication not working is probably some of the most dangerous mentally like unsafe places that I've ever been, right? So it's like for me to already be struggling mentally and then have to wean off of a medication, like that's when I felt the most like suicidal or sad or manic or something like that, is when something is not working and it's really hard on your body. And the way that they have you do it is it's not just like a couple of days thing. Like they tell you to try
4 weeks.
They tell you to try the medication for 3 or 4 weeks at a time, and then they tell you to wean off of it for 3 or 4 weeks at a time, and you just feel like a fucking psycho.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I've been you know, talking to my therapist a little bit more about whether or not I want to like go back down that road at some point in time. But right now I feel like I have a pretty good hold on it as much as I can. I don't feel like a danger to myself or a danger to other people.
I feel like when, especially for me, when I'm in therapy, when I'm working out, when I'm eating healthier, like everything changes, right? And I know that I'm like, all right, right now I'm in this mode of like work, and I haven't been working out, you know? So I have been eating better and trying to do this, but I'm like, medication alone is not going to do it. No. So I feel like I was so frustrated at one point. I'm like, medicine is it. I got to get on medication. But it was just more frustration with myself. And I was going through a lot. I've been going through a lot. I get hit with things left and motherfucking right. Like all the time. It's like, I don't share it at all. But this past year and a half has been tough for me. So it's like, I got to give myself some grace too. Like, what did you expect? To not be like, you know, freaking out over a million things that are happening all at once. Plus, I have a toddler.
That sucks.
The toddler.
That'll do it.
When I tell you, I love my son. Oh my goodness, he is gorgeous. He is so much fun. But I cannot wait until he's past that like running phase of just like running away. It's like, bro, Where are you going? What are you
leashing
doing?
him up or what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am out here just like them white folks. A leash on the kid. And I know people sometimes are like, oh my God. And the one's like, well, oh my God, you don't have a kid.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. It's like, you don't understand what it is to have a son, especially because my daughter wasn't that way, but a boy who is so active. My son is super fast. He's super strong. And after people meet him, they'll be like, oh, I get it. Because he just be out and he's a climber. And I'm like, I'd rather have him on a leash and you that I don't know you will never see you again. Judge me. Here, take that. Versus I'm going crazy in a mall or an airport or a park looking for him, or he gets hurt or he runs in front of a car.
That's it's a safety thing too. If
Absolutely. No, he sees something and takes off. So and that's what toddlers do.
Yeah.
So I need him to be like 5 already. Like, please start listening or something. Okay, but let's take it back. So, Jessica, I met you. You were already like social media girl out here, just baby daddy tears. But where are you from here?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles.
Okay, so you're an LA girl.
I'm a victim of the rent prices. I didn't come here willingly. I'm just born here.
You're just born here.
Yeah.
Where was Jessica? Who was Jessica, let's say, when you were like 18 or before motherhood?
Yeah, so before motherhood, it's funny because I feel like I named my entire brand based off of who that person was, right? So my brand initially started as a blog, SheReallyHadABaby.com. So She Really Had a Baby is what I imagine people would have said upon realizing that Jessica, was pregnant and about to like be somebody's mom. So Jessica around that time frame was honestly someone that had endured a certain amount of trauma like throughout my life that landed me as a high school dropout, job hopping from, I've worked at like every ice cream and yogurt shop in the San Fernando Valley. I've worked at like every call center, just doing like these kind of like things to like survive, but also being pretty heavily tied up in like drinking and drugs.
Have you ever talked about what that trauma was?
I think it's just like, the trauma of being like a firstborn daughter to like a single mom who I feel like prioritized her relationships with men heavily above the relationship that she had with her children. I feel like my grandmother was the one that was pretty heavily involved with like taking care of things. Like growing up, a lot of people thought that my grandma was my mom because she was like my Girl Scout troop leader. And granted, my mom was working, like she worked overnights and things like that. But I think that my mom kind of felt a little similarly to the way that I feel about motherhood, which is kind of like being overwhelmed with the responsibility of having to be tapped in with another human being constantly. And she had 3 of us, but she didn't have the same verbiage to express it or the same, I guess, like resources to be able to take care of herself in a way that didn't make her shut down in the way that she did. And she's struggled with her own like substance abuse. And I just feel like growing up, like my idea of my mom, she's gonna be so mad listening to this, is just someone that went to work at night and locked herself in her room during the day and just chain smoked cigarettes.
And that's honestly your perception of it, right?
Yeah.
Like I have, and mommy issues are so real. Like I've talked about this, I don't have a relationship with my mom, and it's always been very toxic in a way,
right?
Although like she was there and my mom wasn't, she wasn't on any drugs. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she brought me into a lot of her drama with my dad,
right?
And it was like at 12, here is some money, go find out who that little girl was that just walked up to us, like, and it was my dad's side chick's daughter, and I had to go spend all this time with her, finding out this little girl told me, yeah, he sleeps next to us, and this, and then growing up more, though, he's cheating with this person. Go talk to him. Go tell him this. Let's go fight this person. Let's go fight this woman. Like all that through from 12 till he passed away, because he really passed away with one of his side chicks. Yeah. So it was all this stuff, and it's like I always wanted to please her, but it just I never felt the love there. It was like I was only good if I was doing something for her. Yeah. Outside of that, it was a lot of verbal negative things. I never felt seen, and I think a lot of it has to do with I was a kid and now as an adult, I know if they would have just taken me to, and they were just told her she has ADHD, or if they knew what that was, probably wouldn't have been a thing.
100%.
Because the same thing, I look at that with my dad. I used to get his ass whooped. My grandma used to tell me, and I'm like, I think he was just like all over the place. Yeah.
You know what it sounds like in different ways that it's similar is what ends up happening to us with our relationships with our mothers is it sounds like they put a lot more responsibility on our plates that they should have at a certain type of age. Like for me also, you know, I had 2 younger brothers and I just felt like I was in much more of a motherly role than I should have been earlier on. And because of that, I just grew like this like resentment from my mom, the way I feel like she put energy into certain things outside of her children at certain times. And so that led me to basically when I was 17 years old, I found my dad on MySpace, and he lived in upstate New York. And long story short, he flew me out to Utica, New York, to live and stay with him and my 5 brothers and sisters that he had. And I very quickly, within a month span, realized that he, you know, wasn't all that amazing of a person. Ended up in a domestic dispute with him, put in a homeless shelter in New York, sold all my stuff, flew back to Los Angeles, and then at that point in time, I started doing drugs, lost my virginity. The second person I ever slept with was a pimp, and then I fucking, you know, just continued to navigate in a place of like drug usage and trauma and trying to figure out like what it meant to like value myself and putting a lot of that into men and specifically into like being sexual with them in a way that was really degrading to myself and was never prioritizing my own pleasure. So then when things kind of like evened out a little bit and I was like working at like this senior citizens home instead of just like a random call center, I got into, you know, this on again, off again relationship, still a very unbalanced and unequal like dynamic with a man. But because of the type of men that I had been with before, people that have sold me or people that have abused me, when you get with someone that just cheats, it's like, well, he's not that bad of a person, right? And then I ended up, you know, getting pregnant. And when I think about like how people responded to like me having a kid, like I'm thinking about the person that was like super turned up off of drugs at a party, or I'm thinking about, you know, this person who is I guess you would call like a hoe at the time or whatever, promiscuous. Like promiscuous. That's what she really had a baby was, like this very like lost person who I've always been honestly super talented, big Leo energy. Like I've always considered myself relatively like funny. Creative, yeah. Even throughout all of like that crazy shit, I remember like having a Tumblr and having a blog spot and having a Zanga and like putting all my business online professionally. It's just that people didn't care until it got a certain amount of traction. But yeah, like that's where I was at. I was like in this place where honestly, I was still and still am figuring out who I am like as a woman. And I think that's a part of what makes motherhood so difficult for me is that because I didn't have a super concrete understanding of who I was as a person, and truthfully still don't, it makes it really hard to like know what to instill into like another human being.
So hard. And my daughter just turned 18, and I'll tell you, it's hella, I was 18 when I had her. How old were you when you?
So I got pregnant with Nyla when I was 21. Okay. I was like 21. Yeah.
How old are you now?
So I'm 31. I turn 32 next month.
Okay, cool. Hey, y'all. Everybody loves the idea of living in sunny, tropical Florida weather, but no one ever adds the bugs that terrorize us on the daily. For years, I have been in the first name basis with my pest control guy. His name is actually Jose, because I am not the nature type of girl. Bugs and I do not get along at all, but honey, I have discovered STEM. That's my new best friend when it comes to all things pest control. When I think of pest control, I automatically think of chemicals and ingredients that I can't even pronounce. STEM is rooted in nature by using powerful plant-based active ingredients, essentially nature's natural defenses to fight bugs. If you're a pet lover, you also have nothing to worry about because STEM is safe to use around people and pets when used as directed. There are no added dyes, fragrances, or hard chemical odors. Instead, actually, they smell super fresh. Nature's natural oils like rosemary and lemongrass, you don't even realize you're getting rid of bugs around you. A few of my favorite products is the STEM mosquito repellent because mosquitoes just love my children. The fruit fly trap from STEM, oh yeah, it attracts and traps fruit flies for up to 21 days. But my number one product is the Stem Bug Killer Spray for ants, roaches, and spiders. It's ideal for inside and outside of your home. And again, plant-based active ingredients. There are so many more, like a spray for wasps, hornets, and yellow jackets, and a spray for flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. Visit stemforbugs.com for more information, and you can also purchase them like I do on Amazon. Yeah, so I had Ayana at 18, and my mom never was very affectionate with me.
Yeah.
So for me, affection is very hard. And I know that translates to my daughter. Like, it got to a point as she got older, she's like, well, can we do, I remember we would do timed hugs during the day. She's like, can I have 30-second hugs that day? And she'll be like, I can split into 2 15-second ones and things like that. And it might sound crazy, but I'm just not an affectionate person.
Yeah.
Now, with a partner, I am. But that's a totally different thing. I talked about it with my therapist before, and I can't remember what the hell she said. But it is a product of my relationship with my mom. So,
And because you're a Taurus. Because Nyla's a Taurus, and she fucking can't stand when I try to touch her. Am I allowed to cuss on your podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry,
oh, yeah,
my
girl.
bad.
Oh, you're fine.
I cuss every other.
Yeah, no, we bring the Lord into here, but he knows our hearts.
Okay.
I'm trying to work on it, but it's okay. Yeah, I can't be. We bring all these things into motherhood, and I remember like there was a lot of cussing, a lot of screaming, a lot of not a lot of patience, and I had that with my daughter as well. So as I got older, and around 2017 is when I started really working on myself when my dad passed away, and it's like I don't have my safety net anymore, but mommy issues are a lot more intense sometimes, I feel like, than even daddy issues. Like, well, I mean, I guess they're both really bad. It's not which one do I rather. I don't rather any. Calm down, y'all, because the other day I talked about domestic violence, and I'm like, look, I'll take a punch before I take being like berated every single day, and it's like the bruise goes away, and I'm like, I don't rather get punched, stupid. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, the people that get it. I'm just saying, when I had both in my experience, you know, my bruises went away, and what I still feel today and the scars that I feel today are like the verbal abuse and the emotional abuse. But when it comes to like this aspect of it, I don't. Yeah, my dad wasn't perfect, but he was really there for me. That's why I feel like I was my road dog. And then my mom's like, you have this idea of what you want as a mom. And that doesn't go away. That's the fucked up part. It doesn't go away. I still yearn for that like mom that's going to come and like call me and be like, how are you? What do you need? Do you need me to cook some chicken soup for you? Like, just kind of check on me. And she doesn't. And I know that my daughter's now 18. She's upset with me. We're going through it, right? But I still adore her, and I'm like, I will still text her. I will still message her and be like, how's your day? Hey, I miss you. Like, I won't stop, because I know what it feels like for my mom to just be like, well, I'm here. You can come whenever you want. You're my mom.
Right.
I don't care if I'm 36. You're supposed to be the one coming to me and saying, how are you? And like, I already did all that. Like, why am I reaching out to you? Why don't you have that motherly feeling to be like, let me go check on my daughter?
Right.
And I really, like, that triggers me really bad. And it's like, no matter how bad or how much you're like, okay, I am better without them, you still yearn for that mom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What are you doing
my
to
mom,
kind of like, go ahead.
So my mom is definitely doing like some healing in me through her relationship with my daughter. Okay. But I still feel like there's like a rift between the two of us. I took my mom and my daughter to Mexico for Mother's Day.
I saw that.
Yeah, my mom was blocked by day 2 on the trip. It was not
blocked.
We were like, the only reason she got unblocked is because I felt bad because I like left the Airbnb and she's a white woman in Mexico. And I was like, she's really not going to be able to figure anything out. They was already not fucking with us for not speaking Spanish. Like, her,
and they probably think you speak Spanish.
Yeah, no, she was kind of fucking up my like skate by vibes though. Like, it was like, you might speak Spanish, but she's white as fuck. So
right.
We don't trust anything, and bananas are going to be 15 pesos more.
Jesus.
But yeah, like there's just certain things that I realized were a little bit more unhealed than I thought that they were. I remember like being like 10 years old and being mad about something and like running away, and like my mom just walking outside with my brothers and being like, tell your sister bye, like funny shit like that. But then it got to the point where it was like 16, 17 years old where I was actually leaving the home, and like there wasn't that communication. I've had periods of time where I haven't talked to my mom for 2-3 years at a time. And as a mom myself now, I do have more of an understanding about her being disconnected, and again, like I said earlier, just not having the proper tools to be able to like tap in and like figure it out. And I do give her a lot more grace. I tell a story all the time about how I remember talking shit, like when my mom would pull up to 7-Eleven and be like running and get Lunchables for dinner. And at a young age of like 15, I'm already pushing like 175. Like, nigga, I don't want a Lunchable for dinner. I'm gonna need you to cook something. Like, and I remember being so mad about that concept. And then there was a day where I was walking through Target with Nyla and I'm like, I'm not cooking shit. Man, grab you a Lunchable. So you start to have those own like full circle moments of your own as a mother that I feel like help with that healing. But honestly, when it comes to my mom, I think I've just accepted the parts of her that like I can get out of her. And she's in a marriage now and has been for a while with somebody that I feel like severely impacted like my connection with her throughout our entire childhood. She's with someone that I felt like growing up didn't like that she had kids. He never, did anything crazy to us or anything like that. But like yeah, like I felt it. There was like a huge disconnection because of that. And to still see her with someone who I remember voicing to her a concern about not liking and her telling me, I have to think about what happens when you guys are not with me anymore. Like that felt like her choosing a man over me. And, I'm for one a little bit more on the petty side of things, but I tell her all the time, she be thinking I'm joking. I'm like, I remember that shit. Like he better outlive you because I'm not taking care of you. I'm not taking care of my mom in her old age because I have vivid memories of being told that you needed to prioritize men in order to make sure that you were good in your old age, which fair enough. I get it. Like, but to me, the way that I operate in my motherhood is like from a place of selfishness. Nyla's 9, and just this past weekend was the first time I even let her meet someone that I was dating, and that took a lot out of me.
Oh wow!
Okay. So it's like and as soon as we dropped her off at the airport, I told Nyla, I was like, if you don't like her, like, just let me know. Let me know. I say you're always gonna be the most important, and so that's how I heal it. I heal it through my own mothering.
Same, and it's so nice that you're able to get, and amazing that you're able to see that now when she's only 9.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I was so young when I had her, right? So her and I were like, we were trying to figure out life together, girl. Right. Let's go. We're trying to have a good time. I believe I raised her. I did the best that I could.
Right.
And now I can see the difference of having a child at 18 versus 33 with my son, right? Mm-hmm. So I can definitely raise him in a completely different way. I wouldn't even say better or worse because it's
not better or worse because you still gonna fuck something up, man. Like
both
that's
my
the
kids
thing is like
I gave him a fucked up daddy.
I cannot hit my kid. I could pick her over everyone else, and my daughter is gonna turn 18 years old and look at my TikTok and be like, "Bitch, you've been talking shit about my dad since." Since before I came out, right. Like we're all gonna have our things that we have to like navigate and work through. But like my biggest thing is just, like I say it as a joke, but it's like we're all fucking each other up, man. Like there's really,
it's just life, Adam and Eve did a thing back then, and they were like, I was like, oh no, we have to like deal with all this. But as long as we still try to do better constantly, right? Once you know better,
self-awareness.
do better. Yes.
I think self-awareness is the biggest thing. Like being able to like acknowledge when you fuck up, being able to apologize. Like, I still snap. Like all times I'm like, Nyla, or like talk to her a certain type of way that I probably shouldn't have. But at the same time, like I'm so self-aware of like what that feels like to experience.
So when you do it, you're like, shit.
Yeah. And being able to sit down and, say like, hey, like I'm sorry for talking to you like that because you don't deserve to be talked to like that. Not because you did this or because I felt this or because I'm sorry for talking to you like that because you didn't deserve to be talked to like that. Like just trying to like do things with our kids that let them know that, we're there for them no matter what. So that when we are doing something that doesn't feel good to them, that they can actually communicate that with us in a way that we can implement right then there on the spot.
Right.
Because a part of my shutting down throughout my childhood was constantly feeling like I'm expressing certain things and being told like it doesn't matter for whatever reason because, I'm the adult or because this is the way it's supposed to be or because you don't pay no bills or because this, that, and the third. And it's
I'd be like, listen.
Yeah.
You don't pay no bills around here.
Right.
She's like, I want to do this. I'm bored. You got food. You got a roof. You got toys outside. And I did go above and beyond. But at the same time, like, I didn't need to say all that.
Right.
But I remember being told that before.
Yeah.
So I was just replicating what I saw and I didn't even realize it of how sucky that is, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't have to, as she got older, I'm like, nah, hold on now. You're in my house.
Right.
Yeah, you're out of school. You got a job. You got what's up? Like, you can't just be here just hanging out.
Nyla will hit me real quick with, you want me in these videos or not? She'd be like, bitch, I ain't paying bills. How about that?
Yeah,
no, it's rough, but I think that, you know, there's still the opportunity, regardless of the fact that your daughter's 18 now, like, you still get to like have experiences that are healing and growing.
Absolutely,
like,
and I can't wait to continue to those. Like
your daughter may have a baby at one point in time. That's a whole nother time and place for you to be able to show up in a way that you never did. Right. I'm telling you, like, a part of my healing with my mom. Jesus. Listen, a part of my healing with my mom is the way she shows up for my kid. Like, my mom is my routine break. Like, my mom does more shifts than my baby daddy. Like, wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's tapped in that way. My daughter is obsessed with my mom. You can't tell my daughter shit about her grandma. Right. You know what I mean?
No, and even now, like, my daughter is with my mom, and I don't speak. I don't have any communication with her. And although I might not like her, how she is and what my family, you know, represents and how they move, at the end of the day, I know she's safe. I know she has a home. I know they love her in their own certain way. So she's not in the streets. When I told her, I was like, you got to pack, disrespect is not going to work in my house. And she goes to my mom's house. It's like, I don't have communication there, but I also know that you're not in harm's way. Right. You know? So that just, I don't have to bring hate. Like, there's no hate there. There's hurt, but there's no hate. So it just, again, it puts me in the position where it's like, why can't you just be there for me? Now, sober living, you did mention that. How has that affected your parenting? Like, how hard is that? I think you posted how many days now? Sober?
Yeah, so I'm 6 months sober. I think I'm like somewhere in like the 190 something. Okay, like as far as like days I've been checking it.
And that's sober from everything?
Well, yeah. Okay. Because I don't smoke. Like, I think in the beginning, like the first like month or two, I was trying to like toy around with like weed. So I had like a weed pen and gummies. But honestly, I be tripping when I be smoking. I do. Like, I don't be feeling like, I don't get the same calm feeling. I get paranoid. I get really insecure. Like, even with gummies, like, I'll take a gummy and people be calling me and I'm startled. Like, thinking that everybody's like
it took me a long time. I didn't start smoking.
But I've always been like that with weed, though. I've always been like that with weed. I think as far as alcohol is concerned, I just realized that it was a problem. For one, on my own like journey to self-love and healing, I had to like understand that who I am as a person. Like, I used to say, oh, let me start drinking so I can unlock my personality. But it's like, for one, I already have quite a personality. Mm-hmm. So all alcohol does is it makes it a little bit funner, but there's just a little bit of a meter before it becomes just too fucking much, you know? And I just found myself continuously like pressing that line. Even to the point of like drinking every night. I mean, I'm alcoholic for sure. Like,
because that doesn't go away. Once you become an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic for life, whether you're drinking or not.
I mean, here's the thing. So what ended up happening was my brother struggles with substance abuse and he's an addict. And so he was going to NA meetings. So I started going to NA meetings too. And so with Narcotics Anonymous, even though I'm not currently or wasn't currently struggling with like hardcore drugs, alcohol is considered a drug. And then Narcotics Anonymous, what they do is they basically use non-descriptive language. So you just refer to it as using and you refer to it as being an addict. So I do feel like I'm an alcoholic, but just in general, I feel like I am an addict. When I was using ecstasy, when I was doing coke, when I was doing all of these things, it was to start to such a level of intensity that it was causing a problem in my life. And even though I was able to like subside those things throughout my mothering within like the past decade, honestly, it was still showing up very heavily in alcoholism. It still shows up in food. It still shows up in social media usage, creation, hyper independence. Like, who I am as an addict like shows up in everything that I do. And so going to NA has kind of helped me a lot with that. But with the alcohol thing, it's just such a normalized drug. Not drinking the past 6 months has been really difficult to see how everything revolves around drinking. Everything revolves around drinking. And there are people that can use it to unwind, but I can't even tell you after 6 months of not having alcohol that I would see a drink and not use it to get drunk. Like, that's the point. So there's people out there, if you're really someone that just loves the way that you can taste the different kinds of grapes in a glass of wine, fucking wonderful for you. Because I was trying to get smacked.
Like you're just like, you know, it back. It doesn't matter what it was.
Yeah. So as far as how it's impacted my mothering, funny story, I have a friend who a year or two ago I was having this conversation with. I was kind of being like judgmental about people that smoke weed in front of their kids. And I was just like, I feel like it's weird to smoke in your house. Like, it shouldn't, like, it's a scent, it's this, it's that. And he was like, Nyla sees you walking around with a wine glass all the time. You don't think that Nyla can tell the difference between when you start to change at a certain point in your drinking? Like, you don't think that's like the same thing? And, you know, now that I've accepted that I have a problem with that, I 100% agree with that. And so for one, I never realized how much Nyla was actually paying attention to how much I was drinking or would just be, you know, I wasn't like and I don't even want to say it like this because there's really no justification for when you're alcoholic, because I don't want to be like, I wasn't a person that was waking up and drinking, because no, I wasn't, but I was a person that was drinking every single night. Like, I'm not a person taking shots, okay, but bitch, do you really need an entire bottle of rosé every single night? Like, at what point are you just like conditioning your body to build up a tolerance that when I would go out and I would drink hard, my tolerance is already so high that by the time it's too late, it's far gone. Like, just making myself sick every time I drink the next day.
She probably saw that too, like mommy's sick.
Yeah, mommy's sick, or mommy's, you know, do you know how mad I was when I was in Mexico and I got sick from the water and I was throwing up and shitting out my ass and my throat at the same time?
You're like, I bet you if I was drinking alcohol, is what happened.
I was like, and this, I wasn't even drinking, and I'm still getting my ass whipped like this. Like, imagine if I had been. So it's made me, for one, you know what? It's made it harder to be patient, for sure. That's a big struggle, because there's been times when Nyla has wanted to like play or do something, like I don't have anything to tap me into that, because I'm not that kind of mom. I've never been the playful mom. I'm not with the imaginary shit like, nigga, do you want to read a book or what? Like, I'm not like, you know, like we can like touch each other and lay somewhere and color or something together, but like I've never, first of all, my back be hurting too much to be getting on the floor and fucking crawling around with you imagining different Barbie shit, right? That's never been me. But at the same time, like certain things like alcohol would kind of help loosen me up a little bit. So that's been a little bit more difficult, but I do feel like I have more clarity and I'm able to be more responsive to her of the things that she needs. I'm not overlooking certain things. Like, we're on more of a routine because mommy just doesn't not give a fuck after 7 now, you know, and whatever happens, happens, and we wake up and deal with it the next day. But my drinking habit really developed through slaving through like a corporate system of like working and maintaining a job and doing 12-hour shifts and picking up my kid from daycare and going to the grocery store and grabbing a bottle and drinking and feeling like shit the next day and waking up and doing it over and over and over again. And then I've been in this place with like entrepreneurship for the past couple of years where I've noticed that I've been keeping a lot of the same like poor habits that I would make excuses for when I was on somebody else's time that I'm still just doing out of habit.
It's so much easier to do it in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's way easier to do it.
Much easier to just be like, it's okay, 100%. I'll do it later or whatever. You have to be so much more disciplined.
And without alcohol, I will tell you that I've made the past 6 months have probably been the most profitable that I've ever been in my own like brand and business. I feel like I have a much more clear idea about why I'm doing what I'm doing and being intentional about how I'm showing up.
That comes also as a big full circle though, because you did say, although you might make a lot of money, if there's no discipline on the other side, that money will go just like, it is ridiculous how fast money can go. Yeah. Like, it's one thing that I am grateful that for my father, like I come from an entrepreneur that, you know, I've always seen businesses and I was born in this lifestyle, but at the same time, it's like, I am very frugal. Yeah. I am so frugal and I'm so careful because I know how fast money can go. Money can come so fast.
Honestly, I'd be embarrassed because here's the thing, like, I don't own a single designer thing. Like, I'm such a basic bitch. Like, I really just even got to the point where I had a car note. Like, I was driving around with, like, tape on my car. Like, I was pulling up to events that I was being invited to, like, fucking Valet and a Toyota Corolla with blue tape on it. Like, I've never been into, like, subscribing to, like, this, like, flashy narrative of things. So that's why it's even more embarrassing how much I spend money. Because it's like, bitch.
What do you spend it on?
Bitch, eating out. Okay. Like, but I'm not that even talking very about. Expensive. I'm not just talking about in and out. Like, I'd be like, bitch, you really just be going to have $200-$300 dinners. You just be doing whatever the fuck you want to do, you know, little stuff like that. Also, I'm really, really, really big on convenience, so I'm bougie in different ways. Like I said, don't own a single designer, fucking nothing with clothes, but bitch, don't wash your clothes for shit. Somebody else gonna fold these drawers. Like little things like that.
Those are all things that I believe everyone should have a housekeeper, and nobody should wash their own clothes because that is just, unless there are some people out there, I will say, that do enjoy I can't relate, but like they find it therapeutic to clean their house or the bathrooms and wash their clothes. That's not me. While I have someone at the house cleaning and folding my clothes, I'm in my office working, making 10 times what I just paid them, right? Yeah. And that's how I view it. But at the same time, discipline comes everywhere, which is something that I have been really working hard in the past, I would say maybe like 5 years, is discipline in everything. Discipline in eating, discipline in money, discipline in my emotions. Like ever since I started therapy, I have to have discipline in everything, because I can have a surplus of something, but then I can get rid of it so fast. So I'm doing really good in business, but if I don't have the discipline to work out or be patient or to watch what I'm spending money on, it doesn't matter how much money I'm making in my business. Yeah. Or if I'm not taking the time to really look at what I'm doing and, hire the right people or spend the right amount of money in certain things or investing right back in myself, that money's not going to flourish anymore. Yeah. So
the way you do one thing is the way that you do all things.
Everything. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Oh my God. There are days that I just don't want to do it. And I don't. But I've set my life up to give myself like some leeway. Yeah. So kind of like, okay, this day I'm not going to do anything. Or I can take 5 days off here. Or I can do this. And I keep picking up. I got a job. It's about to be a year now. I was like, why did I get this job? Well, because the job helps with my business or whatever. Like there's all these different strategies that I have for life. But my biggest thing is like, you need to be disciplined. And discipline is something really hard for someone with ADHD.
For sure. But then also, I feel like in entrepreneurship, you touch money in ways that like people aren't used to touching money. And that kind of justifies your crazy sometimes. Like, bitch, there's days I wake up and I got a $20,000 email. Right. So yeah, if I'm being impulsive with something, in my head, I'm like, well, all you need is one little good sale.
But who knows when that's going to come.
Right. 100%. But like, that's why I found a lot of power the past couple of months in selling my own shit. Like this has like been beneficial, but again, worse, because I'll be like, if I really go hard though, I know I can crank something out and like make it happen for myself.
That's how I used to work in the club. So the club is all this cash, right? And I was a VIP waitress, and I would make $1,000 a night. It was not a problem. And I would work 5 nights a week. So it was like, it's cool. I would lose money, cash. Yeah. Literally, I would lose it. And it's like, it's fine. I'll make it back tomorrow. I just go tomorrow. I'll make sure I used to bring bottles, and I ain't shit. I used to bring bottles in and sell them on the side. I'm like, all right, I'll just stop at ABC, get 2 bottles. I know that's for sure $500. Yeah. Well, but it's like, that's not the way we should operate at all.
It's not.
I want to build generational wealth. My dad left me definitely with something great, which was the knowledge and a home. Everything else I let go of, because I'm not going to fight nobody for no money. Yeah. So it's like I let go of everything else. I have my home that's paid for, and then he gave me all this knowledge, which is so much better than any money or any material thing. So it's like, what am I doing with it? Yeah. I need to make sure that in my entrepreneur journey, I leave wealth for my children. And although my daughter has no interest in my business at all, it's like, what can I instill in her for her to know? So we're now raising children that are seeing us, and we have to teach them something. So even if we feel like we're not those like like I see moms that do like the lunches with like the hearts and the cookie cutters, and they're like, oh, they get these different snacks. They got school lunch. You finna eat at school lunch.
Right, period.
Like, I'm not making you lunch. Oh, I don't like.
Because I'm gonna be mad if you bring it home and you didn't finish everything anyway.
Plus, that's not me. Yeah. Now, if I cooked last night and there's leftovers and you want those leftovers, cool. You can take this rice and beans and this piece of chicken and take it to school, whatever. I'm not making you extra lunch. I'm not the type to be like I see Ariel and my friend Alicia. Oh my goodness. I have all these friends that for every holiday they have like matching outfits and they take the pictures.
No.
Who's gonna do that?
Yeah, I don't even put on a bra most days. So I'm not finna match with,
No, I'm not doing all these. And I find it so cute. I love to see it.
Maybe a photo shoot.
I don't know.
Every once in a blue moon.
Yeah,
I think the last time I did a photo shoot with Nyla, she was like 3.
Bro, I don't think I ever did one with Ayana. Yeah. She's 18. Yeah. I don't think I ever did a photo shoot.
You should do one.
I should.
That'd be cute.
I haven't even done one with Psalm. Oh, I'm kidding. I did his baby picture. That's all he got. Yeah, and I did that because I never got one with Ayana because I was young and broke. Yeah. So I did his newborn photo shoot, and that was it. That was just something I really wanted. But I probably should do more photo shoots. But I know that I'm more of an experience person.
Oh, for sure. That's the thing too. Oh, like another thing, like I definitely experiences. Like that's where the money goes. It's like, I've been to Disneyland like 10 times this year. Like,
yes. And
you know,
all that counts because that's quality time that you're spending with them.
Mm-hmm. But I want to be more prepared. But also I give myself a lot of grace because I do feel like I blow through money. But also I do live in Los Angeles, and I think that's kind of what I'm trying to like get away from, because the cost of existence is so ridiculous, even at the most bare minimum. I pay $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. It's not the end of the world, but it's still a lot. It's a lot. And that's not utilities. That's not my electric, my gas, my nothing. Right. I have my car note, my car insurance. Nyla's in gymnastics and Nyla's in swim.
And they just have to breathe.
There's food. I have like at least $400 a month in subscriptions just for my fucking business, right? Don't talk about actually getting some type of success in entrepreneurship. I just paid someone $8,500 to do my website and build out funnels for something for me. So it's like you get to a point where it's like being out here sometimes in Los Angeles, going to even like treat myself to a smoothie that's $15 starts to add up, and it starts to make you feel like you're not successful when you are. I told myself, this was before I actually went on the Good Moms retreat, I was like, this year I'm not playing with motherfuckers. People gonna know I'm on. I was looking up these I was like, I'm gonna be in a floor to ceiling glass window penthouse after this fucking lease is up. Like, I'm done. Like, that's gonna make me grind. That's gonna make me go harder, whoopty whoop, right? So I went on the retreat in Costa Rica, and I was meditating, and I was like thinking about it. And could I pay $8,000 in rent every month? I could pay $8,000 a month. I've spent $8,000 a month on dumber shit, right? I was paying someone $8,000. You know, like it is what it is. I could do it if I wanted to, but I asked myself. I said, if I never post this apartment, do I want this? If I never let anybody on Instagram or TikTok or whatever see that I'm living in this apartment, do I want it? And it's not to say that there aren't people that want and have luxurious things so they don't just like them for themselves, but I know that that's not me. It's never been me. And when I had to answer the question about whether or not I would post it or not, the answer was really just no. So now I'm in a place of trying to figure out, how do I create a life that I have to put so little effort into sustaining that I can actually figure out how to regulate my nervous system and figure out what it is that I even want, or what kind of parent I even want to be. I have my daughter drawing pictures of me talking about, mommy, this is you. And there's never a time that there's not a fucking tripod or phone in my hand. And that shit breaks my heart, because it's like, damn, I have a certain amount of success and I have a certain amount of money coming in, and we could do whatever you want to do, baby girl. I'm homeschooling my daughter. I just hired someone to basically do because I'm paying somebody to do it. I got someone coming into my home for 3 hours a day and fucking doing the shit for me, basically at this point. But it's like, I don't want to have to work so hard anymore to be able to maintain a lifestyle that, when I think about it, is really for other people. Like, even these last 2 months that I'm here, people are inviting me to go do this, that, and the third. I'm just like, oh my God, like, fuck, I'm gonna have to buy shoes for this. I'm gonna have to do that. Like, I'm trying to fucking escape capitalism. I just finished reading this book called Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hershey. She's like the founder of the NAP ministry. And it's like, when you think about what our ancestors' wildest dreams were, it was the capability of being able to rest. Like, slavery was literally white people seeing how far the human body can be pushed to make a profit. Like, and no matter how much money I'm making or how much more I feel like I'm scaling myself in entrepreneurship, I'm still just subscribing to that, because the harder that I go, the more I make, the harder I have to go, and the less I have for anyone else.
But you gotta sustain it then, and can you keep it up?
100%.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm on some whole other business shit now. I'm like, fuck all this. Like, I fucking, listen, I got 5,000 people to buy something. I'm talking to these 5,000 people for the rest of my life. I could give a fuck about everything else, you know? Build shit out on the back end. Don't be afraid to hire, but also do shit that makes sense too. Like, even with the podcast stuff, like, I really salute you, because I'm trying to make it make sense. You know what I mean? I'm looking at stuff on paper and I'm like, this is tapping people in a certain way, but like, when you have to like invest in a certain amount of things, like, that felt like a manic episode for me. Starting a podcast felt like a manic episode for me, because I fucked around and just got online, watched some YouTube videos, ordered $5,000 equipment, and then was just sitting in my fucking living room like,
girl, you should have called me before. Jesus,
got this kind of camera, bitch. Bought three Shure SM7Bs, bitch. Like, I was talking to anybody but myself.
Who did you have at the house?
Bitch, when I tell you,
so you were
listen.
So you were starting a studio
In the corner of my house. Turn
3, not 1,
and then told my daughter, baby, we ain't not gonna be able to eat dinner in here no more. I'm turning into a podcast studio. This little ass corner, only 1 chair fit. As Orlando came,
but 3 mics.
3 mics, just in case.
Did you return some of them?
I just finally sold one of them because I'm selling all the stuff now because I'm leaving the country and selling everything.
But are you gonna bring some of that stuff with you?
I got these I got lights like this in my living room right now.
Jessica.
Yes.
Jessica. Orlando was out there damn near pissing himself because it's like, what the... Okay, that was a manic episode.
It was for sure.
That was definitely a manic episode.
But then it's like, I see, the way that certain members of my audience are like excited. Like I'm like, okay, cool. I got a solid, I might have X amount of followers, but cool. Okay, I got 10, 15, 20,000 people that are really like getting tapped into me with a different way. I'm trying to figure out the stream of Patreon. I'm like trying to find like patience with certain stuff, and it's like,
yeah, the thing with podcasting,
It's a lot.
It takes a lot of strategy. It definitely takes a team to do it on your own. I mean, I did it on my own for 2.5 years until May came in the picture.
Yeah.
So that was back in 2019, 2020. And was it 2019? I don't remember. When she came in the picture, and it was really hard for me to let go. But now it's like a team of 13 people, right?
Yeah.
But it takes time, and it takes strategy. Crazy. It takes strategy. Retarded. For the podcast work to work, right? Because I think we're all so fooled by these highlight reels on social media, and people pretending like they have 6, 7, 8 figure podcasts when they don't,
100%.
And it's like maybe your other businesses, or maybe the way you sold something, or maybe the way you pretended something was working, maybe looked right, but podcasting is profitable when you have a strategy, and it might not be ads. Ads is the last thing I teach when I teach about podcasting.
Yeah.
You have to be literally in the top 1% of podcasts to make any money.
The only reason that I know that for my own person, and this is like a bias, like it's a privilege thing. The only reason I know that a podcast makes sense for me is because I'm going in with the privilege of already having like almost 1 million of reach on my own.
Correct.
So I already have lucrative brand deals that I can use this as for an upsell. I am giving my existing audience an opportunity to trust me in a different way to buy things that I'm selling outside of the podcast.
Right.
Like, I am aware of these things. I think I just need to take the pressure off of myself that it's supposed to look a certain way. Yes. Podcasting stresses me out personally because I am coming from a place of, I wasn't like a part of a group of like Instagram content creators that teamed up on skits for fucking 2 years and grew their following. I have literally grown my following.
Neither did I.
I know, like,
I want somebody put me on a thing.
It's very hard. I be struggling. I'm like,
oh.
My entire brand has been built off of like me doing my own content by myself, and collaboration is beautiful. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely, I can't even imagine where I would be at if I was collaborating the way that I know that I should be collaborating. Right. But it is fucking stressful. I was fucking stressed out smashing from my house at 4:15 to fucking get here to meet up with you at a fucking specific time. Like, right. Coordinating with other people stresses me out. Talking to other people stresses me out.
Oh my, you stressed right now?
No, I'm very relaxed right now, but I'm just saying in general, it just takes so much, what you're saying, it takes more strategy, it takes more work, it takes collaboration. And then my whole thing is, I'm very much a creative, like, in my head. Like, I don't think that the same shit that people think is funny is funny. I don't like the way certain people do certain things. The same way that I know I could have an idea and be like, Carla, let's do this video. In your head, you can be like, bitch, what is this? Do you know how hard it was for me to convince anyone to be a part of that dancing video that I was doing for a long time? Because explaining that shit out loud to people was like, what the fuck? But you know what it did? It worked on my end. The same way that things that work for other people can work on their end. And it's just, it's beneficial, but it's stressful, which all comes down to like the aesthetic of it, right? It's like, yes, like I want this to a certain degree.
Need this. Let's talk about the Read. The Read has 10 years in, has never had video, complete audio. They don't even show their face. They don't even market. And yes, they got in 10 years ago. Yeah. And yes, video is very important nowadays. But I tell everyone, this is beautiful. I am blessed to be able to do this. But this is not what I used to do. Literally, my interview with Charlotte in 2020 with May was a Zoom with a webcam. Yeah. Like, and it still did well. And it's
just decided that I'm going to finally do that. That was me. Because remember, I told you, I was like,
you're not doing Zoom.
No, I'm not doing Zoom. I'm using StreamYard. I've been using StreamYard.
Yeah, StreamYard, Riverside, Zencaster, any of those. Yeah, you can put your camera, if you keep one of the cameras that you bought, you can use that.
And that's the thing. I be fucking, another idea of a manic episode. I've been seeing people stream on fucking TikTok, and they use their Shure SM7Bs. Go to fucking decide I want to stream one weekend. Go to Guitar Center. $500 for the cord fucking connect from the Shure SM7B to the phone. Live stream once since I bought it, right? That's the type of impulsive shit that I'd be doing, knowing damn well I've had lives on TikTok with 300-400 people in it where I've fucking done like $2,000 worth of sales on a fucking ebook with no mic.
Your phone.
With no mic.
With your regular phone.
So like I know that like it works without it, but you see all of these people, you see these people in your faces that have the setup, and the setup is beautiful. It's great, but also there's like this reality of people not understanding either people are spending a shit ton of money and not having it make sense, or people aren't even spending any money at all and they're just leveraging the fact that they have a following and using the setup for a certain type of way, which no knock to a hustle or anything about it. I would love to open up something like this. You know, it's all but relative.
It's because we're all looking out. All I keep hearing is we need to just work on
focus on ourselves.
Focus on you and what you got going on, and that is where you will flourish, right? Yeah. It's like you're like, hey, I saw people do this. I had to get that cable. Yes. I saw people do this. I had to go get the cameras. I had to make my studio. I had to get that. I do not tell anyone to get it. I don't even own an SM7B.
Yeah.
I have this one now.
I got two for sale, bitch. If you want one. The fuck? Comes with the cord, got a case for it.
Recently, I think not even a year ago, I bought the MV7s for the house.
Yeah. And I remember looking at the videos of these ones and be like, nah, man, they said that these were the ones.
I also use Samsung Q2Us. They're $69, and you can't. There's not one listener of yours that is not in audio that can tell you the difference between a Samsung Q2U and a SM7B.
Yeah.
One is $400, one is $69. Your listeners cannot tell.
It's a trend. The Shure SM7B is literally a trend.
It's exactly what the other shit was. You see people
having it.
But the other one was shitty.
I got it because I saw people having it. I'm like, oh, this is the mic that everybody's using, and so you do it.
If you're into podcasting, one, hit me up. Or want to get into podcasting, one, hit me up. My thing is, until you have something that proves that you can cover these expenses and the money, just like a business, you have to treat this like a business. Until the money starts coming in and you have a proof of concept, you need to make it look great with very minimal. So it's like from home with a camera, get a great webcam. It's like $100. This is $69. Your laptop using Riverside, which is like $20 a month. There's so many different ways to do it. Like even with when we launched Dating Unsettled with Joya Fodu, her very first video, and that the reel we made for her was used by Fenty. Rihanna, she won something, and it's like they featured it on Fenty, and that was done at home with her home mic. I said, bring a plant, put a little camera on there, turn a light on, and that's what it was. And we made it on Riverside, and that's how it was totally virtual. I was producing virtually. She lives out here in California somewhere else. California. LA is California to me.
And you want to know what's crazy is that I built my following doing videos with my daughter sitting in my lap with a Snapchat filter. I'm not, immune to like understanding that you don't have to have that kind of setup. I think that the deeper that you get into consuming content, which is what I've been trying to do less of, is paying less attention to what everyone else is doing. I decided in the month of June to not do trends anymore because I'm like, who am I even as a creative person that all of my content is surrounded around me taking a sound that people have used thousands of fucking times and just put a different quote on it. Like I've stifled my own like,
even you talking about it, I feel anxious for you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, oh my God, this is so much pressure. This is so much. I'm like, jittery.
And I'll be honest, like, here's the thing. Like, so I spent the past 30 days doing that. And while I felt better as a creative, I felt less pressure to constantly show up. I definitely sold less. Like, it definitely
But you have to come up with a strategy that works for you.
And also I've decided that, like, with the route that I'm going with the life that I'm trying to live is that I'm not necessarily always going to be concerned about making more. It's about having impactful conversations, which is why I finally decided, like, you know what? I'm just going to do the virtual stuff for a little bit because, like, for one, like, I don't need
great content virtually
to pay X amount of money to like facilitate these conversations. Like, I already have the privilege of I can send something out and fucking get it in front of the eyes of people, and people will be able to share it and tap in. Whenever I have content that's fucking taken off or done crazy, it's been very low production. When I fucking go out and shoot a music video and I'm like, this is gonna be the one, and there's graphics and there's this, and then it don't hit, and then I fucking prop my fucking phone up by my sink and fucking do something, say something stupid, and it takes off for whatever reason. So it's really just about, I feel like this is so off topic of everything that we were talking about. I'm sorry. Again, I'm unmedicated.
versus us unhinged.
Right.
No,
exactly.
I know we're definitely like over time, so I'll probably make the other one a little bit shorter. But I do want to go over a letter with you, and then we'll wrap up. So we'll do this part quickly. So if you have any questions, you can send them to askcarlawilmares@gmail.com. It's in the description of the episode. Send that as it could be advice, or it could. I mean, I am no therapist or anything. I should be in a psych ward myself, but I feel like I gave great advice.
I've been in a psych ward once.
Me too. I was 16.
Yeah, I was like 18. I was more mad about not having access to a ponytail than anything because my hair just matted up.
Bro, I was actually having a great time. I was like the leader of the pack, and I had my pillow. I just need to suck my thumb. I was like, somebody bring in my pillow. I'm gonna act crazy in this bitch for real. So they brought my pillow, and I was good.
I used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. Like on routine. So the only thing that frustrated me is that they only call for cigarettes like every 4 hours, and then they light them for you. So it's like kind of luxurious because like, oh, I don't have to light my own cigarette, but I'm also in a psych ward. So what's happening right now?
I used to think, so you ever watch that movie? This is fucked up that I'm even saying this. The movie with, what is her face? Lips. Pretty girl something. Oh my God. Girl
Interrupted.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So they're in the psych ward, and the way she used to do the medication and be like, I'm gonna take it out. After they put it, so they would make me do the line and they do the medication.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, just like her.
Yeah.
I never took the fucking pill. Like,
I love that for you.
I was sick. I was just so mad at my mom. I remember like that was the one time I tried to commit suicide. I don't even think I really wanted to die. I was just really pissed off.
Yeah.
That I ran towards the highway. I was like, I'm gonna run in front of the cars.
Yeah.
I could have jumped that fence a little bit faster. But I went slower. Yeah. I was athletic back then. I didn't jump that fence like I could have. But I've been there before, and it was a cry for help, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
And I didn't want those meds. I didn't want to be there. But you can put me in any situation. I really don't want to go to jail. But you can put me in any situation.
Oh, I would do so fucking good in a pod. I would do so good.
Oh my God.
Listen,
I feel like they would like.
I be watching those prison shows. First of all, I mean, I'm definitely down to be somebody's bitch if I have to. I'll get fucked. If I got to make it. Listen.
They're gonna make me lick coochie now. I wanna.
Listen, it's not that bad.
No.
You know what's crazy is I used to think that way about vagina, but then I did some self-work and realized I really just didn't like my own. I used to freelance write for XO Nicole. I used to do freelance writing for them, and I wrote an entire article about one of my first experiences with women. And
oh my
it was
God,
titled,
I'm touching my pearls.
It was like titled, I'm definitely not a lesbian after this, and the queer community like dragged me, and I'm like full-blown gay now. Like I really just had to go into the whole game.
We're gonna have to do this virtually again for part 2 because we'll do it with your with your SM7B and your camera in Riverside. We'll do that again. So we'll talk about your gayness and how that works, especially as being a mom. So this one says, "Hey Carla, I would love some advice about dealing with the relationship / communication between my boyfriend and their baby mama. Background: I'm 28 in a relationship with my 30-year-old partner, and that has a cooperative co-parent relationship with a 6-year-old and his ex-wife. I grew up in a blended family. My parents have a yours, mine, our situation, so I grew up having multiple co-parenting situations around me, but it was toxic. I'm also divorced and was a step-parent in my last relationship, but it was parallel parenting style, so my ex-husband and I didn't have involvement with the kid's mom outside of logistics, making sure that the needs got met. It was very cold, business-like, so it was just like speaking to a coworker. I know part of my insecurity is this being a situation that is unfamiliar to me. I don't have a frame of reference for what is appropriate in the situation. Part of it is that my current partner has gone back to his ex-wife multiple times. I also know that boundaries are important, but I don't know what my boundaries should be or where to begin to figure out what a cooperative co-parent relationship. I don't know what that is. You stay over there. Yeah. I'm not sure how to navigate friendliness in a co-parenting relationship. I don't know what is and is not appropriate interaction between my current partner and his ex-wife. What is too much friendly cooperative behavior? What do you think is an appropriate amount of communication? And what would being a supportive partner look like while still having boundaries with a cooperative co-parent? This is a conversation you have to have with him. What are you comfortable with? Honestly, you probably should have asked this before. Yeah, I'm married, right? No.
Yeah, I don't think he said it was married.
This is a conversation you need to have. As a 6-year-old, he's gone back a few times. What does that look like? Boundaries for sure. I'm so big on boundaries.
I don't think that you get to police somebody's relationship with someone they have a child with.
Yeah, you kind of have to see if you're comfortable with what they got going on.
If you accept that someone has a kid, you either trust that they're not going to be fucking on this person or you don't. you trying to put up boundaries and policing whatever works for their existing there was a family that existed before you, and whatever works for them is working for them. Like, now, if your person is comfortable setting up certain things that you're voicing concerns about, sure, go ahead with that, but don't sound like
you can
that.
have the conversation, but you can't like say, this is what my boundaries are, you have to change them. No. Or also, I think she's asking here, what is too much friendly maybe on her part with her. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Like, even when in my ex, when I was in my last relationship, I remember speaking to her, and we still have a relationship today because of our boys. But it was very simple. Like, we talked about the son. She asked about mine at times. It wasn't a communication all the time of us hanging out, but we would definitely have it in a way where we're not talking all the time. But if we plan something, yes, we're communicating because we plan to do something, or let's do a pickup or whatever. Like, hi, how are you doing? How's it going? How's your job? Like, very like that. But I don't think we need to be besties either.
I mean, I've seen some dynamics where they all like be kicking it.
I've seen. I mean, and I don't
it's
mind
whatever,
that.
it's
but
whatever
it's how far we're
works.
taking it. Yeah, whatever works for you. You have to have this conversation yourself. Like, I can't tell you.
You have to have a certain amount of security in yourself that I could tell you that I personally don't have.
Does your partner not have kids?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I'm just saying, like, I've dated like men in the past that like had kids, and it was like a weird thing.
Yeah, well,
I actually don't think I've dated someone with kids since having a kid, because I see on the back end how like messy
it could be.
Child, I have a whole brand talking shit about my baby daddy, and I still baby daddy tears cups, and I can pull up my baby daddy still flirting with me to this day.
Stop.
Niggas ain't shit.
Is he married?
No, he's not married, but I'm sure he's had a series of relationships throughout the entire time. Jesus. If I wanted to be my baby daddy, I could be my baby daddy.
What's crazy is that I've never gone back. I was married to him, but I've never with Ayana's dad. Never went back. Like, there's no desire there at all. Like, in any way, shape, or form.
I definitely slipped and tripped and fell on a dick.
Did you? Just a quick slip. What was the most recent time?
A couple years.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my baby daddy was actually the last man that I was with.
Really?
And it's been like 3 or 4 years. Like 3 years.
Okay. Also, you gay now. Do you consider gay or bisexual?
I consider myself pansexual because I've dated trans people as well. So I feel like I'm very open.
Oh, you just take them all. Mm-hmm. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Orlando's like, all right.
Orlando knows all the tea. Orlando knows all my business.
A trans man or a trans woman?
Trans man.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Your anatomy doesn't directly correlate with your gender identity.
But here's the thing. I just still be so curious. But I'm curious about everything. So it's like, why can't I? It's not like just about, I literally am curious about everything. I'd be nosy. Yeah. So it's like, I really sometimes want to know. I was like, oh, you said, how's that work? Mm-hmm. And then I remember doing research, and it was like, oh, the clitoris grows really big. And then I was like, does it? How big?
Testosterone.
So now I'm really curious about how.
I think it's just like... See, I think it's just like, it's a way. There's people that are open about stuff, so you just have to like gauge that.
Fine. I'll never ask someone. Like,
right. I was like,
someone. I'll never ever ask. Yeah. I really won't, because it's none of my fucking business. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I don't be thinking about it.
Reddit. Just look
I do. No, I Google the shit out of it. Don't worry about it. I be images. Google what is it? Images. And then I need to go to Twitter because Google be like censoring stuff, so Twitter doesn't censor anything. Yeah. So then I look it up on.
But to be clear, I am still attracted to men. I just haven't.
So you're attracted to anything, everything. Yeah.
Black, no matter who you are. Black and breathing are the requirements.
Oh, okay. So they have to be black
for sure.
Okay, so black, trans.
Yeah, I'm already half.
What about a trans woman?
We can't. A trans woman, I would be open to talk. I haven't been with a trans woman.
I've seen porn videos, and that it's quite a view.
Yeah,
to see both, and they be like, it's literally like half up, whole woman, half bottom. I'd be like, wow, that is wow. 2 in 1 for sure. Yeah. All right, Lord, listen, I'm coming here to close out the episode.
Are we still ending with the Bible verse?
We are, because we are. We are definitely ending with a Bible verse.
Did we help this woman at all?
I think so. You better figure it out, girl. You gotta talk to your man. You have to have communication.
I know you gotta talk to your man.
And definitely, you have to see how comfortable you are before you even have kids with this man or decide to get married.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please do not get married and do not have a baby unless you are 110% comfortable with whatever relationship they have going on and co-parenting. Because that's the first thing. People are like, oh, I'll just have my own baby so then we can be over. No, is not. That's not the way it works. And usually, the oldest baby takes precedence, and I'll just.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So please, I think that's helpful. Okay.
Yep.
So like I said, I always close out because I feel like a lot of people come here for sometimes the mess. They stay for a message. And I know you said you were in a cult.
Yeah. I was in a Christian cult. I was a disciple of Jesus Christ. I believe that if you weren't baptized into the church that I was in, that you were not saved.
And I'm so sorry you went through that.
Yeah. Same.
Because definitely I was born in the church. I strayed for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And I came back and it's what's kept me grounded. I feel like you have to believe in something. And I definitely, mine is Christianity, but believe in something that's bigger than us. Because if we feel like it's the end all be all here on earth, like you have to believe in something or you'll fall for anything.
Right.
So because we are both moms and we're both still trying to figure it out, even though I'm on number 2, it's still kind of like, I'm a little off. So it's Proverbs 22:6, and it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And I think we've talked about this whole time. This is not a promise to us as parents that we're going to raise our children properly, but more like a warning for those who allow their kids without guidance to live without. Just be you. Just do whatever, and they will go their own way. They will stray, and children do not make the best decisions. Teenagers do not make the best decisions. We have to guide our kids from day one. So if you leave them to their own way, they're not likely to change. They become adults that just are doing things their own way from the days that they didn't know any better. So it's like now you're an adult lost, essentially, and trying to find yourself. And sometimes we look at the fact that we might not have it all together, but if we have something that we believe in truly and we have a guidance, which is what the Bible really is for us, just look at it and get these stories and really try to understand them and get a relationship with God yourself, not necessarily the church. I think things come and get a little funny when it's like church, your pastor. Don't praise a pastor. I love the pastor of my church. I love that, but I also know that he is human. You know, and they might make mistakes. And I also grew up in the church and I knew the secretaries were fucking the pastor and the deacons were, that ain't none of my business, you know, and that's where I got as I got older. I'm like, I have to have my own relationship with him and understand that I need to teach my children to do the same so they don't stray. My hope is that right now my daughter is 18 and that I have taught her well enough that whenever she gets herself into a certain position or a certain situation, that conviction will come over her and be like, oh man, I remember when my mom talked about this, or this doesn't feel right, and that will hit her. And I think that it does. She just wants to be an asshole to me. It's sorry, God. But you know she be trying me, Lord, and I'm trying. I'm doing a really good job. So yeah, like I said, God definitely recognized that children don't make the wisest choices on their own, and we have to make those for them at times growing up, and then maybe later on they will continue on that path.
Amen.
I believe you will come back at one point. You will.
I was like, you know what's funny is when you kept saying we, I had the TikTok sound in my head. It's like, she not talking to me. Like,
no, I will definitely continue to pray for it. And it sucks because when you are in anything, it's like you stray away from it because you felt like it wasn't for you. And it's like, this didn't do anything for me. But
I think my whole thing with like religion, what ended up happening was just after that experience, I read a book called Sapiens, and it really just dove into like evolution, and it resonated with me. But I will say this, the same way that I choose to like hold on to the beliefs that I do about the things that I do, I also recognize that everybody's just doing the same thing. And so I don't knock or find judgment in what anyone needs as far as like having faith, because we all like decide what we're putting our energy into to like have like a foundation of something.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like I tried it and maybe one day I'll come back to it and maybe one day I won't. And
it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
Like I think as a Christian, it's not up to us to judge. And I feel like something that Christianity taken to the extreme, they're just so judgmental. At times people are like, I don't want to go that way. It's like, it's not for me. And it's just like, listen, my job here on earth is to magnify for me the Lord's name and my path and what he's done for me. And if it resonates with you and you feel a conviction with it, then you move forward with it. And I don't know what seed I might plant on whoever's listening. Every single week there's thousands of people listening, and it's like there's a seed that's planted there. And you might go ahead and open up and read Proverbs 22:6 because you're going through something with your kids right now, or you're feeling like you don't know how to guide your children, or maybe like a year from now, you'll be like, I remember when Carla said, whatever, let me just go ahead and it'll instill something within you, or at least to have faith in something. And that's my goal here. I just have to use my mic and my voice to because he's been good to me,
Yeah.
right? And I know that things...
It's also a good foundation for your parenting. It gives you like something to have like a grounds of something on.
and ground your children. So
Because we definitely just be going off vibes in my house for sure.
and vibes be changing, boy. Let me tell you, because emotions are like up and down.
Yeah.
So it's like we're like all over the place. And at times I have to check myself and be like, "Hey, God, help me out here," because what I really want to do is this. My flesh wants to lead this way, and there are times recently in the past year that I'm like, I want to go with my flesh. I want to turn up. I want to pull guns. I want to like
shoot at people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Period.
And it's
I didn't know you was a thug like that.
And it took literally God for showing up one day and forgot to send people into my life. And I don't know if I'll talk about it in the episode with May, but for May to one day call out of nowhere. Yeah. Out of nowhere, when I was in a point where it's like, this is about to happen.
Right.
And it's like, why are you even calling me? Right. Like, literally, why are you even calling me? And certain things like that happen, it's like, let's pray about it. Let's talk about it. And I'm very aligned with people that understand and are in connection with my beliefs as well. Yeah. Like, we have the same, and you have to find that community as well. You do. And that you really believe in. But anywho, that's my spiel on that.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We're going to do this again virtually for sure.
No, yeah, we're going to do it virtually.
We're going to have pink lights behind us at the house and everything. Yeah.
Shit, I might fuck around and just do it here too.
Hey.
This is really nice. This was great. I'm glad we got to meet in person.
Same.
I've been following you and watching you for a while. So
thank you. I'm glad we did it.
To get together. I knew you was a real one. I always like linking up with people that put me on their close friends. I'm like, I'm giving close friends material.
I hate you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Pivot with Purpose. I'll be back next week. Goodbye.